Live.
Hey, everybody, shut up.
Oh,
wait, it's too late.
No,
We're live.
wait. Oh,
can you say that?
We missed it. We missed
rude.
it.
You're rude.
Can you say that?
I am rude. I'm
Can
actually
you say
my.
that? Oh, maybe Jay forgot to set it. No.
There.
Honestly, we'll tell you why it took us long to get on, but we were having a really deep conversation about something. You know what? We should start the show, but I got to get over here and start the show, which is we're starting the show. Hey, Evan's on the show tonight. Hey, guys, this isn't the normal crew. This is fantastic. This is weird and different. Let's go live. Welcome to Taylor Primetime. How about another video?
Oh.
What time is it? What time is it? It's prime time. It's prime time. What time is it? Well, that would be prime time. Oh yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world, it's Tuesday night, time for a prime time show. All of us from Taylor Guitars. Tonight on Primetime, Sir Evan Redel, Sales Support Manager for Taylor Guitars. And tonight's episode is all about New Year's musical resolutions. So, I think we all have different resolutions. We all have different goals. I've certainly spent the beginning, the last couple of days listening to a lot of Jeff Beck music, and I just want to say thank you to Mr. Beck for everything he's done for the musical community. Every note, every nuance, every melody, and R.I.P. the greatest. Welcome to Primetime.
Wow.
Ooh,
Heavy.
that got the feelies going there.
That did at the end. I kind of got choked up.
Good work, Andy.
That was really good work, Andy.
Absolutely.
So we are live on Primetime, and Andy really hit. Yeah. We were going to go into Jeff Beck just a little bit, but thank you, Andy, for that. See, Andy was supposed to be on the show tonight, but then a last minute thing. Remember, we talked about it last week, where sometimes he's got to sell guitars, and sometimes he has meetings that hit. You know, his market is a greater part of Asia. So Billy does some of Asia, right? But he is working right now and selling guitars, so he couldn't make it. At the last minute, he slid me an intro and an outro, so I'm really excited about that. We thank him very much, and that was beautiful, man. Jeff Beck, guys.
Yep. 100%.
Wow. Anywho, okay, Evan, welcome to Taylor Primetime.
Thank you. I'm beyond thrilled to be here. Jay, I don't think I ever told you this. Fun fact, preparing for my interview with Taylor, take a wild guess what I totally binge watched. Taylor Primetime.
But only the Mike Venezia episodes.
Because those are the only ones that matter.
I got as many as I could to prepare for the interview, and here I am. So there's something about it. So thank you.
You know, we usually do a segment, and we'll dive into it in a minute. We usually do a Hug Your Haters segment, but I want you to know, we got an email last week from somebody, and it went like all the way up the food chain, right? It went to the top, and it was an email about how this show is like this weird nerdy community of guitar players that actually helps sell guitars, which was really It's a good thing to hear. We're really excited about it. I mean, it's corny, right? We're building this thing out. We actually are going to start doing these things in studio pretty soon. So it's come a long way. The fact that we have 4 seasons and we're on our 79th episode, and we're going to celebrate Jeff Beck a bit tonight, and we're going to talk about our musical resolutions for this year. I'm looking forward to it. But Evan, that's interesting, and thank you. Is that a compliment, Mike? Was that a compliment, Mike?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously he was informed. He cheated, and then he wound up getting the position. So, I mean, to the cheaters go to the spoils. So, but we're lucky you're having him. So there's that.
Yeah, that's research. That's not cheating. That's research.
Well, to skip ahead to a Bill Belichick reference, it's not cheating if you don't get caught. So, not to jump ahead into sports. So,
all right, guys.
Do we call this primetime gate?
I think the feed needs to understand something real quick. I got the nerdiest group of dudes on this. Lindsay couldn't make the show tonight. She also had something else that she had to deal with and work with. She's on our artist relations team, and she's on our community management and community outreach team. And she's been doing some amazing work with schools in San Diego. And we do a program here where Bob Taylor started this program a long time ago. I want to say like 30 years ago, where we give or donate guitar building sets to wood shops at different schools around the San Diego area. And Lindsay came in and really just started to help our training team bolster this. And she's been really doing something cool with Kearney High School here in San Diego and a couple other high schools. So she's working on a project and she's doing that, but it's fantastic. Bob spoke at Kearney High School last week. If there's anybody from San Diego and you know where I'm talking about, but he spoke. The kids were super engaging, and imagine Uncle Bob, right, showing up with a bunch of high school kids right now who are motivated by TikTok and stuff like that. And then next thing you know, they're like asking Bob Taylor for his autograph. And like, can I get a selfie with you, Bob Taylor? So it was a really cool moment. It's a cool project that she's been working on, and she's busy doing that stuff tonight. So excited about that. Anyway, let's move this thing along. Evan Redel. Okay, Evan, first off, I'm going to ask you the question. Where's Andy, Evan?
That's a very good question. To be honest with you, like you said earlier, if I'm not mistaken, he's actually doing his job, which is to sell guitars.
Yeah,
so
but
as to
where is he?
If you're aware, I'm going to ask the gentleman beneath me, unfortunately.
But if you're a fan of the show, where's Andy, gentlemen?
North Woods, is that the answer?
Yes, he's in the North Woods.
There you go. That goes to show just as much research as I did ahead of the interview.
It just so happens that Andy's always in the North Woods. Sometimes, most of the time, he's in the North Woods.
I want to get Michael Buffer on the show when Andy's not here. It's like, from parts unknown, weight unknown, and just do like a full-on wrestling thing.
That'd be so awesome. Andy Lund was going to do his song live tonight, but he's not. He had to shoot me those messages real quick. We brought Ryan McMullen back. You guys saw Ryan on a couple of episodes, maybe 1, 2. Were you on 2?
This will be number 3. Thank you for having me.
This will be number 3. So, what's awesome about this show is it was like the 11th hour. I'm like, oh, Andy can't make it. And I was in the middle of a meeting and I just shot Ryan a message. Hey, you down for primetime tonight? He's like, yeah, I could do that.
Of course.
I could do that. So I appreciate you jumping in and nerding out with us tonight.
My pleasure. I'm very happy to be here. Always an honor to be on primetime.
Dude, it's so good to have you. We're really stoked to have you here. Last week, we celebrated my mom's 83rd birthday on the show. So Mom, once again, happy birthday. I'm glad you're back watching the show. You know the deal. All right. What's going on here? Oh, welcome, Evan. I did that. I'm reading my instructions over here. I got some instructions. Okay. Welcome, Ryan. Yeah, did that. Mike, you're the guy.
Yeah.
How's Roger, Mike?
Well, as you can tell from the debris all over the floor, it's like a toddler is in here. And that's because Roger is being Roger. But tomorrow is his 2nd birthday. So Roger will be 2 years old tomorrow. Happy birthday, Raj. Now, can you take the CD case out of your mouth? I'm not kidding.
Roger.
That's what he's holding right now. Here's the best part. I don't know where he gets some of this stuff because I don't even know where it was in the first place. He helps me find things I've lost like months ago.
Does he have Does he have good taste in music though, in terms of what's in his mouth?
No, he's like, why do you have a Celine Dion CD in your mouth right now?
Shh, Jay.
I mean, I'm a fan. I don't want anybody to come protest.
Roger is not a fan, and that is part of the problem. So
Oh,
it's,
okay.
You know.
It's so awesome. So you guys know the deal. Let's keep the feed clean. We don't want to have to put you in a timeout. Let's keep the nerd and guitar nerd. We got this thing going. All right.
Quick
Next
answer
thing.
to a question in there. Yes, that is a 514 CE behind me and a 510.
Yeah, but that's a special 510.
That 510 is a special 510. That is an old Lemon Grove 510 that I've had for since it was new back in the 80s.
I love
Very
that
proud
guitar.
of that guitar. Yeah.
I played that guitar.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We got no hate tonight. Like I said, we got a really, really delightful email. And this is just a moment for me to give you guys some love, regardless of if it's your first time watching the show or if it's your 79th time watching the show. 79 episodes. We did 79 things. That's quite wild. Anyway, to think that I could do 79 things, that would be amazing. Anyway, so we did 79 things. We're really grateful for you guys coming here every week or whenever we do a show. It's fun to hang out with. I mean, right now we got people. Best show on YouTube says, oh, with a really great host. Who is this person? I think this person needs to get a nod real quick.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah. Absolutely.
interesting and matching last names. So thanks, Mom. Appreciate you.
Happy birthday, Mom Parkin.
Look at her short text, though. It's so good. YouTube. I love it. Anyway, we're going to do a quick segment right now, and then we're going to get into having a good conversation about New Year's musical resolutions. So I'm really excited about the show. It's going to be super fun. Evan, we're doing our little segment we do called What Are You Listening To? And you know what we did not do last week? We didn't play a useless clip. I'm going to play a useless clip. Ladies and gentlemen, what are you listening to? Tell us what you're listening to in the feed over here. Evan, what are you listening to lately?
I've got two things, by the way. Awesome intro clip there. Thing number one, as you guys have probably seen, San Diego has tried to do its very best Seattle impression in terms of the amount of rain that we've had. And with the rain comes sadness and sorrow. And so I decided to go back through all of these Civil Wars records. If you don't know about the Civil Wars, it was John Paul White and Joy Williams. Charlie Peacock produced the vast majority of their tracks. They unfortunately are no longer together, won multiple Grammys. But when I'm rocking my youngest son to sleep at night, it's awesome to listen to, and sometimes it puts myself to sleep. That'd be the first one. Second one would be thanks to Steve Therault, our business intelligence manager. I have been on a crazy Tyler Childers binger lately. So those are my two.
Tyler Childers. That is totally a Steve thing, huh?
It is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
When in doubt and you're like dry for music, you just go into Steve's office and say, what am I listening to, Steve? And he'll tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, what have you been listening to, buddy?
You know, it's funny you said about Tyler Childers, because I've been doing a lot of outlaw country on Sirius Radio, and he pops up quite a bit. And also Steve Therault got me into Jason Isbell a couple of years ago, and so he's been good for that. You know, The Cure. I've been pulling out The Cure lately. I just got Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me on vinyl this weekend and was listening to The Top, and I just had this new wave thing going through me, and it's been all about The Cure for me for the last week. I bounce around a lot, but at the same time, that's where I'm hanging tough right now.
Hanging tough. Interesting. Think about what you just said. That's really interesting. Was that well played or not? We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to jump in real quick, Mike. I've been listening to The Cure. In fact, oh man, I was listening to Disintegration earlier as I was doing some like financial stuff. So there's that. That is a band that my oldest brother got me into so many years ago. I remember uh, we all used to hang posters in our wall when we were kids. And my brother had a Boys Don't Cry poster, and it was so big. And it was like when I was younger and smaller, I was never really smaller. I'm not going to lie. So when I was younger, I just had this giant Boys Don't Cry poster on my wall, but it was a hand-me-down poster. It was originally his, and then it became mine, and it was awesome. But that, and I've been listening to a lot of, I listened to a lot of Jeff Beck this week. And, rest in peace there. I have been listening to a lot of Jeff Beck, but also a New Order. So often for me, it's like when The Cure happens, I listen to New Order. And of course, like last week, I told you, when it rains at our house, we listen to a lot of Radiohead. So we've been listening to a lot of Radiohead. Mike, what have you been listening to?
I also have been listening to a lot of Jeff Beck. I went out last weekend and I did some great digging and picked up Truth and Blow by Blow. And they've been on infinite repeat pretty much ever since. But also part of, our topic is New Year's musical resolutions. And part of that for me is kind of expanding my horizons in music and trying to listen to new things. But there's some things that, I really enjoy, which are soundtracks. And there's some great soundtracks out there. And this has been on a lot recently as well. So the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Volume 1 is amazing, but Volume 2 almost tops it. I mean, between ELO, Sam Cooke, Glenn Campbell, Cheap Trick, you can't beat any of those. And then also, I picked this up as well. Now, this one's a winner because this was when Tom Jones was in his real estate phase. So he's telling you to live in Las Vegas. And I never really got how that came through. But I figure, everybody's into real estate. So, okay, I'll go live in Las Vegas. Sure. I mean, it made me think. So.
Venezia. What is Rich Casciato on the show right now?
I was going to say, it makes my dad jokes look mild.
I have a very quick Tom Jones story. My wife and I were dating many years ago, and we were at the MGM in Las Vegas, and I looked over at her, and this was 20 years ago, and I said, Valerie, that's Tom Jones over there sitting at a table, and it was Tom Jones sitting with some older gentlemen in suits. I mean, these look like made guys, but I don't want to judge. And I said, I can't go over there and ask Tom Jones for an autograph, but you can. And I reached for the closest thing I had, and it was a $1 bill. And I handed Valerie a $1 bill and said, go get, and she's, no, I don't want to do it. Please go get Tom Jones' autograph. And she did. And somewhere in this house, she kept the $1. And somewhere in this house, there's a $1 bill signed by Tom Jones.
That's wild. That's a good story. Interesting, as we get into this New Year's musical resolutions thing, we have a coworker, our director of digital marketing. I'll leave him unnamed. Maybe he doesn't want to be named Scott. Anyway, and his wife has this incredible talent, and that is every show she goes to, she gets a set list. And he told me about this, and I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. Every show I've been to with them, she gets a set list. The first show we went to was like a Run the Jewels show, hip hop, right? Next thing she knows, she's like, I'll be right back. And she's wild and awesome. And Scott's like rolls his eyes a little. And I was like, where's she going? She's going to get a set list. I said, okay, what do you know? She comes back with a set list, right? So she got a Jimmy Eat World set list. And so every single, these are some of the shows that I've been, but every single show she gets a set list. Scott sends me a picture for the set list. Never an autograph though, just a set list. Isn't that random? It's a random talent. Anyway,
they are collectible.
I feel like the logistics behind pulling that off, like venue by venue, security, differential, that's got to be wild to pull that off.
Seriously.
One time I may or may not have heard her say, there was a kid behind me who was visibly upset because I got the set list and he didn't. And I said, did you give him the set list? She goes, no. Anyway, that made her sound like a bad person. But no, I think she actually gave she started to walk away and then turned around and gave him the set list. But Anyway,
Ups.
the set list power. Evan, let's get to know you quick before we have this conversation. If you've watched the show, like you're very studied and you understand how this thing goes, I'm going to ask a question that I ask every single guest that we have, and that is, Evan, what in the heck do you do at Taylor?
Fantastic question. I legit find myself asking myself the same question probably far too frequently. All jokes aside, my title is Sales Support Manager. And as you can probably tell, that's a rather open-ended and pseudo-ambiguous title. Long story short, though, I was talking to our director of sales, Dave Pelletier. He's actually been on the show. That may or may not have been one of the ones that I studied ahead of my interview with him. But all that to say, I asked him about my title, and he kind of said, well, anything that supports sales, we can just justify and throw onto your plate. And so I found that kind of funny that it's a bit interesting of a title. But the fun thing is I have the great honor and pleasure of managing a team of data engineers. They are some of the most intelligent people I've ever encountered, and to have them on my team is humbling and incredibly enjoyable, to say the least. But to kind of get into the weeds a little bit, I get to kind of bridge the gap between sales, logistics, accommodations, marketing, and it's incredibly enjoyable to be able to support such an awesome company and such a wide variety of tasks. I'm never bored because I never have the same day on repeat. So that's kind of a very brief synopsis of what a sales support manager does for Taylor Guitars.
I'm going to say I'm not on the sales team, on the marketing team. As some of you know, I oversee content, visual content, so photo and video here at Taylor, and some storytelling and this, that, and the other. But it has been an absolute pleasure working with Evan. You came in hard. You came in like you had to fill some big shoes. We already had this company on lock. We have these things dialed in, though we think, right? And so you've been able to come in and just lend your hand to these talented dudes here on the show for sure. But I would agree. Your squad is so fantastic. The people that we get to work with and who support you guys getting your guitars it's an unbelievable process, and you're managing it well, and you're doing a heck of a job. And I will tell you this, we work with a lot of artists. I work with a lot of baseball players. I work with, different influencers and different people. And it's like, so refreshing to just be able to go, hey, Evan, help. And you like dial it in, and everybody's like, the best nod was if Tobias is on the show, we'll dive into Chris Bryant, now of the Rockies, was on the World Championship 2016 Cubs, a former NL MVP. Like, the dude is just a rock star, right? He buys guitars. He loves guitars, and there is no one else that I would ever want to, service that dude getting his guitar. And he wrote me a text, and he was like, man, your team is so great. That was the easiest process I've ever dealt with. So kudos to you, a nod to you. I'm really happy to have you on the show. And I know I'm speaking for the marketing side of things. You're fantastic, dude. And it is great to see you every day. It really is, man. It's like, oh, Evan's here. I can smile.
No, I appreciate it. I joke around with people that I oftentimes get the How I Met Your Mother treatment. It's, hey, have you met Evan? And there it is. It's in my court, and we roll.
That is true. That's kind of how we work now. Have you met Evan? Anyway, we have a couple of questions. Mike and I were doing a little pre-production on this earlier, and we were talking about how you got your start in music.
Yeah.
Go. I mean, you're not just a sales support person. You are a guy that also plays music. Look at all the different pedals and stuff that you have behind your head over there. How did you get your start?
Yeah, good question. I'll try to give you the short Reader's Digest version here. I was one of those amazing people who had the luxury of being homeschooled, and part of that was my parents got to decide my curriculum, and starting third grade started piano. And once I realized that girls don't like piano players, or at least they didn't when I was learning, I realized that, hey, my older brother is this rock star playing guitar, and he doesn't have a bass player in his band. So that got me into playing bass. After that, I started guitar. When it comes to guitar, I joke around. I'm a huge Wolfpack and Fearless Flyers fan. And the only similarity that I have with Corey Wong in terms of guitar is that we prefer playing rhythm to lead. So my guitar chops are extremely, while I can play lead, I prefer rhythm, and my chops reflect that. But surprisingly, my music kind of career took me right back to piano. If you do a deep dive with my name, I've got a couple albums out there. That's a shameless self-shill right there, and alliteration, I guess. But I love music, love the recording process. Got to do about 10 years of music directing before getting into a stay-at-home dad gig, and then into retail, and then here. But just huge connoisseur of all things music, nerddom, pedals, that one, and whatnot. So that's kind of a brief synopsis of my music career there.
Yeah, when I need a 1/4-inch adapter for my headphones, I know where to go.
Got you covered.
Yeah.
This is a true. This is
Evan
a
has
true
more
story.
pedals in his office than some stores I visit have in their store.
It's true.
Like,
It's true.
like literally, I asked him, like, are you opening a shop? Like, is that, do you want to service the sales department? It's fine. We're all, we all have the sickness known as gassing.
Oh,
So
man.
yeah. Funny enough, I sold Evan a pedal. So there
It's
you
true.
go.
It's true.
Did you? Which pedal was it? This one?
Uh-oh. No, it was not the fart pedal. I did not sell Evan the fart pedal.
I will say, Jay, you need to stack that into a Miku, though. That would be, I think, world domination.
Lord, fart pedal into a Miku. Wow.
That would be amazing. Into like some big gnarly reverb, so it sounds. Never mind. This is my favorite tuner right now, by the way.
There you go.
It's not in focus. Anyway, I'm a big Peterson. I'm a strobe guy. In fact, one of my favorite things to do is when an artist on a video shoot comes in, I have some of the clip-on strobe tuners, the clip-on Peterson tuner, right? And when artists come and they want to tune their guitar, I put a strobe tuner on it, and 90% of them are like,
Oh, yeah. Wait, what is this thing?
It's so good. I love it. All right, Evan, let's dive into some useless questions, and then we'll get into our conversation that Mike's going to help us lead here. And that is, Evan, useless question number 1, alive or dead, who is an artist that you'd love to collaborate with?
Oh, that's tough. I'm gonna lean back on my my family here. As I mentioned, my older brother Andrew was the band that I decided to pick up bass to play in. And there's you just can't replace family. I mean, whether it's the tight vocal harmonies or just getting locked in. If I legit had to pick someone, it'd be my older brother for sure.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful answer.
Yeah, I mean, he's a legit musician. Just his name's Andrew Redel. Just awesome guy. I did not just forget his first name. I've got 2 kids and I'm caffeinated, so
Line.
Oh,
I understand Andrew was watching until about 10 seconds ago.
He just low-key fired you.
Quick, when's his birthday?
Yeah, January 24th. Yeah, his birthday's coming up.
Well, that gift better get better.
Yeah, just don't ask me his social or anything because the caffeine will kick in.
He buys him blocks kids blocks, toy blocks that spell out his name. All right, next question. Which band in the past or present has ever existed do you wish you were a part of? So which band do you wish you were in?
I want to say the Cheetah Girls because that way I could have learned how to dance a little better. But real talk, because I'm not a very good dancer, I'd say you mentioned it earlier. It'd have to be Radiohead or Mute Math.
Dude, 2 winners right there. How gnarly would it be, and how incredible would it be to be like one day like Radiohead calls you and it's like, hey, you want to join us for a tour? Oh
yeah, I mean, it'd be just as good as getting a call from the Cheetah Girls and learning some of their stuff. That'd be second best.
That'd be pretty amazing. Or my phone call would be, Jay, who? Okay, next useless question. What was the first song you learned to play front to back? And what instrument? I'm gonna leave
Mary Had a Little Lamb on piano off to the side and we're talking about guitars, the first thing I actually learned front to back
Was Mary Had a Little Lamb?
no, it was a Vertigo U2.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. That was my. I cut my teeth on some U2. Let's just put it that way.
That's awesome. It's random. That's a good one too.
It's a great
It's
song.
hard.
It's not
Yeah,
easy.
well, it's not that.
Yeah, for when
Not
you're
that
young, growing, and you just idolize a band like U2, it was very homeschooler-esque of me to pick Vertigo as the one I went after, but it happened.
Did you go to the Joshua Tree tour?
I did not, unfortunately. Fun fact, my first ever concert I ever attended was Katie Hudson, who went on to become Katy Perry.
My wife was really good friends with her assistant or best friend or something like that, like lived with her or something. There's a story there too where Katie Hudson, right?
Yeah, she would play solo acoustic, just I think it was praise and worship, and that was my first ever concert. So no Joshua Tree, unfortunately.
Wow. Well, I just went to the last Joshua Tree tour. How many years ago was that? I can't remember, but I can tell you that Tim Godwin was there. He was the one who gifted me this opportunity to go. The person he was going with canceled last minute, and he called me, and I'm at home. He's at, this stadium, and he calls me. He's like, "Hey, I got a ticket for you if you want to come down." I sped down there as fast as I could, and I'm sitting there with like all the guys from Switchfoot, of course, and Andy Powers and Andy's wife and Mike Osman, and I look over at one point. I can't remember what song they were playing, but Mike Osman and I didn't want to look at each other because we were just weeping, like full on ugly tears, like snotty, like. Anyway, I feel you for your fandom. Okay.
For those that don't know, Mike Osman is also in the sales department, and he's
been on the show twice too, huh? Maybe.
Has he?
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. Well, he's like an unabashed U2 fan to the ends of the earth. So
I don't blame him.
He's a fantastic U2 nerd. Okay, last useless question, and we'll get into our conversation. What is the beast? What is the best piece of advice another musician has ever given you?
Oh man, there's so much. Let me pull from. Can I do?
I had a
direct
look at timeout. Sorry, Evan. Tobias landing the plane. Paul Tobias. We welcome you to the feed, Paul. Okay,
Hi, Paul.
Sorry.
No,
I digress.
I'm happy to be interrupted in that manner. Not a problem at all. This was indirect advice. There's a YouTuber kind of acquaintance I have who posted a video where he was unpacking a story where he was part of a band doing pre-production, and Patrick Carney, the drummer for Black Keys, was producing. And this YouTuber was just really excited, absolutely nailed the first song. And Patrick Carney comes out and says, it's too good. It's too clean. It's too perfect. And I know it's a family show, so I won't say this perfectly, but he basically told him, you need to mess it up. It's too good. I don't want a robot guitarist. You need to mess it up. And I took that advice when I heard that. And despite the fact that we can quantize and pitch correct everything, I know I brought up the Civil Wars and Charlie Peacock earlier, the idiosyncrasies and the inconsistencies and imperfections, sorry about the alliteration again, that's some of the best music around, is when you can really feel that and the music breathes. And so I remind myself of that playing live, recording, and whatnot. And that's probably some of the best advice I've ever heard. And then some of the best advice I could offer up and coming players too, is despite the fact that everything in pop music right now is perfect and on the grid and perfect to pitch, it's a little overrated, honestly.
The groove, man. You got to feel the groove, right? We've all heard this statement before, and that is true. Someone who's been involved with a lot of production of music, you got to feel the groove. I don't care about the mistake as much as I care about the groove. If I hear the groove and I hear something that's just like, sometimes a banjo note might just work. Really. Sometimes, so especially live. Like if you're just feeling it, that's a great piece of advice, man.
To build upon that, and I'm sure you guys will agree, when I was back in New York and working with bands and such, I would be in the studios with them, and they'd be like, man, I messed up that note. And the producer would be like, leave it. And they're like, why? Well, because nobody else knows that it was a mistake except you.
Mm-hmm.
To the audience, that's meant to be there, and it sounds great. So,
Yeah, interestingly, some advice that I would give, I came from the label world. You've heard me say this before if you're a fan of the show. And, a lot of bands, the first thing they want to do when they get signed is record a record. Wow. I really upset some young bands because I would not let them go into the studio. And I would say, no, we're going to book some shows and we're going to go play. You're going to tour the United States twice before you play these songs in the studio because you don't know how to play them. You just wrote them. And so everything is so robotic these days. But, now don't get me wrong. I come from this world. I love this world of like electronic music and what you can do with, in the box and with all the software and stuff like that. I think it's fantastic. But the performance part and sometimes missing notes, like you said, Mike, it's like no one knows, man. That one sounds better. Or the Rick Rubin stories, right? Where Rick will say, no, play that note. And then he'll leave. And you're like, oh, that changed the whole thing. Anyway.
What's the adage about you make a mistake and it's a mistake, but then you repeat a mistake and it's jazz, something like that?
Yeah. One time it's a mistake. 2 times it's jazz.
Yeah, there it is.
That is fantastic. So let's move on to the discussion. Mike, you really designed the show tonight and I thought it was just a fantastic idea. It was an idea that you had and we were talking about it. And it's like, do we ever just sit down and, design our resolutions for music? What does that even mean? Why were you inspired to do the show? And I just take it, man. It's all you. I'm here.
Well, all right. So here's my deal with resolutions. I hate them. And why do I hate them? Because nobody ever really sticks with them. You're not writing things down at the beginning of the year and remeasuring yourself at the end of the year. And usually when you make a resolution, it's for something you don't want to do, right? Whether it's losing weight or, going for that new job or whatever it is, like you're always trying to better yourself. And then what happens if you don't fulfill it? Well, you just kind of let yourself down. So I never resolve to do any things like that. What I do resolve to do are things that I enjoy and expand horizons. And I find that to be far more rewarding. So I came up with this idea of musical resolutions. So I thought about it and I said, what do I want to do this year? Now, for those of you in the feed, please absolutely put what your musical resolutions are. But here's how I sort of framed it. It could be learning a new style of guitar playing. It could be experiencing a different genre of music that maybe you haven't really given its due, or going back to something that maybe you didn't like before, or, writing an album, recording an album, joining a band, starting a band, leaving a band for another band, whatever it might be. These are your personal musical resolutions, and it could be anything. And then the best part about it is at the end of the day, you can't fail, because, if you try to do it like, all right, well, I didn't join a band, but I started a solo career, or, hey, I thought about writing this riff. I wrote the riff. Cool. Whatever it is, you can't really fail at it. It's not like I'm going to lose 50 pounds. And when you gain 10, you just don't feel that good about it. But with music, there's always, as we were talking about, happy accidents along the way. So either way, you can't really fail with this. And so, Jay, you and I were talking about it earlier. It could be buying a new guitar.
Yeah.
It could be adding another pedal. It could be, stripping down your rig. It could be adding to your rig. It could be doing any number of things. And I'm sure all of us, whether we thought about it or not, have these things that we want to do. So right here, Zach trying to learn flamenco on his first grand nylon. I mean, that's amazing. I can't touch flamenco. Would I try? Maybe that's 2024. Because I got a bunch on my plate this year with music. But this is another one. At 16, you want to join your church's worship team. That's amazing. These are all awesome. Great things. And so I put it to all you guys, and we can go around a couple of times because I'm sure one is not enough, right? So let's start with our guest of honor, Evan. What would your musical resolutions be?
Yeah,
What
Mike,
is-
awesome setup there.
How many rounds do you want to play a game? Let's play
Until
a
we
game.
get bored.
Until we get
Until the feed gets bored.
the feed's gonna get bored. The feed's
Yeah.
bored.
And we're done.
Yeah, exactly. 3 rounds. 3 rounds?
Okay, we can do it.
It's like a game. Okay,
There
3
we go.
rounds. Round 1, Evan.
Just going with the same theme I mentioned earlier. I think I mentioned a second ago. I'm a father. I've got an amazing wife, but I've got 2 boys, 5 and 1.5. Fun fact: this may be a Taylor Primetime first, but we're actually due our 3rd in July. So a little announcement there. So that's exciting. The family's growing.
Yay!
But one thing I've learned as I've tried to continue my career as a musician while also working and first and foremost being a family man is that oftentimes you do need to lean into the limitations around you. And it's not a bad thing. And I think to kind of expand on that for me, if you listen to some of the music I've done in the past, I get carried away with very well said.
Sorry.
These Tobias interruptions have been my favorite part of the show, honestly. I love it. Keep coming.
PT is good for it.
I love it.
I think mine, real quick, might be one of them. This doesn't count, but just having a glass of scotch with Paul Tobias. There you go.
If
One.
Paul Tobias knew how many guitars I've been able to line up to ship his way, we'd have a lot of fun having a cold one together. Anyway, I'll just say I love layering. I love stacking vocals. I love the nuance of those tracks that you don't necessarily hear, but you feel. But we don't really have, I'm at this point with my family, I don't have the luxury of spending that much time. But when I think about it, so many of my favorite records are, 3 guitar tracks, 1 far left, 1 far right, 1 in the middle, bass and drums, 2 vocals and done. That's fewer than 10 tracks. And leaning into the limitations around you and deciding going into a song, I'm going to intentionally limit myself to 3 takes on each track and choose my favorite and let it be that. It's something I really want to grow in this year.
That's a good one. Mr. McMullen.
All right. I've been thinking about this. I as Mike knows and Evan knows, because I've been blowing him up with it, I've been on a bit of a tone journey. I've always been a very utilitarian guitar player. Give me the guitar, plug me in, and away I go. And so what I have been working on is more where the effects come from and how to accent the songs that I'm playing and really put some depth into the voice of the guitar that I'm playing with my band and not just be in a set it and forget it situation. And so it's get new pedals, sound, as I've been explaining to you, effects loops and for the first time in my life, as opposed to just going front end in an amp. And so that set me on quite a journey. And so it's really a tone trip, looking for those sounds and really trying to find a variance in what I'm playing here.
A tone trip.
And you don't even need to take LSD for this.
And you
trip.
don't need and it can be done sober. Yes.
Ryan, I really like that one for you, especially when you listen to your band. I think that's really interesting because you're talking about taking something you're already good at and just improving upon it even more. So huge props for that.
I appreciate. Yeah, no, we've been doing it a long time, and it's just pushing that envelope. Pushing the envelope further.
Jay.
Tone trip musically. For many years, I worked kind of on the industry side of music. And over the last couple of years, so I'd say about a decade ago, longer than that, actually. Wow, I'm old. I just had a moment of clarity. That's what you witnessed. I'm old, so we'll say 20 years ago, I got records that I worked on that are turning 20, and that's wild. But I've been, recently reconnecting with some people from 20 years ago, and about working on music together again, or bands that were on the label that I worked at. We talked about it a little bit last week with Chad Gilbert, but bands, and I've reconnected with a bunch of people who have also taken these like interestingly long hiatus from playing music live or doing things like that. And recently I started working, I'll get people that reach out to me and say things like, Jay, check this out, or what would you do here? Or when I did label stuff, I was a sequence. I'd call it kind of, I hate to use this term, but I was a sequence Nazi. Now, what I mean is a record should be well crafted and put together, in my opinion. It should never just be a bunch of songs, right? And so I'll get people to be like, hey, sequence this for us, right? I mean, for the last 20 years, it'll be bands that you may know that I'll get this, a Dropbox link, and it'll be like, sequence this for us or do some stuff like that. And, but recently there's 2 artists that I've actually started to collaborate again with. And my goal is I've been working kind of behind the scenes, doing a lot of ghost production and stuff like that on a record. And I'm about 13 songs deep, and I'm going to co-produce a record and release a record this year. That is a big piece that's a resolution now. Will it happen? Yes, because Mike did the show and he said that whatever happens and whatever we say has to happen, and whatever happens on Primetime stays in Primetime. No,
whatever when you put it out to the universe, and therefore it is.
There we go.
It lives forever, Jay. Keeps moving on.
Go.
Anyway, I'm going to write a record this year with a friend of mine where we've been working on it for quite a while, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, for me, it's a similar thing to, Evan and Jay kind of to start with is, I do a lot of home recording. I really enjoy it. I'm a solo artist, but, it just winds up being this really demented type of metal in the end that Ryan's heard some of it. Basically, I just take old, 70s love songs and things of that nature and make them very aggressive and in a very fun way. Like Tom Jones, I did it in the style of Metallica. It's Not Unusual in the style of Metallica by Tom Jones. So things like that. But at the same time, while that's creative, it's sort of kitschy, and I want to do something a little bit more serious. I can write. My problem is that I wind up writing 30 seconds. It becomes a jingle. I'm like, all right, that's good. And then I use it for other things that I do. I'm like, all right, well, wait. There's another 3.5 minutes to this song that should probably exist with some lyrics and things of that nature. So my goal is to put together 12 songs and come up with an album's worth of material, some of them written by me, some of them me blowing up other bands, and just for fun, because, hey, at least you'll listen to those and laugh, as opposed to pointing and making fun of the other 6 songs. So that's part 1 for me. Evan, round 2.
Okay, maybe like a bell. We can ding really quickly for round 2, or any
ding.
cards we can lift. Yeah,
There
we go.
That was great.
Did Roger perk up back there?
No, he's dead. He's dead asleep. He's not dead. He's asleep. His birthday's tomorrow.
My round 2, as it's been mentioned, I'm a huge guitar nerd, and I love pedals. I
do?
Oh man, alive! I could live in that JHS room with all the clones. Huge frequenter of that pedal show, so on and so forth. But I actually have a pedal concept design and idea that surprisingly has not been done before, which, if anyone who understands the pedal world, is rare, because typically everything has been cloned in some way, shape, or form. But I've got a concept that I don't think has totally been done before, and I'd love to at least get a prototype in my hands by end of year to see if it turns out as good as I hope it will. So yeah, that's my round 2.
Nice. That's awesome. Ryan?
A little bit more boring. I'm also on a guitar search. I'm looking for I think I'm going to get a Jazz Master this year, and I'm out touring. As I'm on the road, I'm going to be looking for that Jazz Master to be the other guitar in the collection this year.
Aren't we always looking for the next guitar, even though we don't say it?
Yeah, we just make a resolution about it, but that's an easy one.
I'm sorry, we need to address Tex's question here. With that, Lindsay, do all Taylor sales folks have beards?
I have an answer.
And glasses. Yeah, we all wear glasses and we all have beard. Yes.
Yeah, and there's a height limit, and there's a lot of mics. Oh boy, is there a lot of mics!
There were 5. Now there's only 4, but there were 5. So
no, to answer this question,
Tex, everybody's blurry.
This is fantastic. It's a fantastic question because what I think we're seeing right now is it's rainy season in San Diego, so we're all growing playoff beards. Right.
This has been with me a long time. This
Same.
kind of comes with the territory.
You know, it was the day I got out of the Army. I was like, I'm never shaving again. I think I shaved once after the Army. Oh, I shaved ridiculously terrible mustaches for when my daughters were born, so I could take first pictures with this like sweet mustache, and they would be annoyed.
I don't know about you guys, but do I wear glasses and have a beard? Were actually check marks on my Taylor application. I'm not sure if you have those, but I definitely did. So
yeah, all right.
Yeah, I can understand why. Ryan, I'm sorry I cut you off there at the end of your answer. Do you have anything more to add?
No, it was pretty straightforward. We're looking for probably very likely a jazz master, but we're getting another electric guitar this year.
Since we're talking about guitars, do you literally mean jazz master or an offset?
An offset. That's where the path is beginning, and I'm hopeful that it takes me with a couple bends and curves. But that's where the path begins, and then we'll see where it ends up. But there is going to be something. I've got the Telly, I've got the Strat, I got the Paul, and now we're looking for that tone that fits something different, and that's where I'm off to.
Jay, round 2 for you.
My goal is to put an absolute ton. A musical goal actually is Taylor related. Resolution is to put an absolute ton of GS Minis into guitar players' hands this year. I have a couple of secret ways to do so, but I want to make sure, I want to put even more on the map. I want like every guitar player I've ever met to have a GS Mini.
Everyone should have a GS Mini. I say this all the time when I'm traveling.
At least one.
And I don't care if you're a guitar player or not. Everyone should have a GS Mini.
Everyone should have a GS Mini.
Person should have a
Even
GS
if you hang it in your house and your guitar player friend comes over, you gotta have a GS Mini.
Just have a GS Mini. Yeah.
It's just it'll help you learn. It'll inspire you to do music. It's just a musical. It's like, arguably one of the greatest instruments Bob Taylor and crew ever invented. It was spectacular. I love it. So that's totally more of a guitar nerd, not so. I selfishly, I want every guitar player, every person on the planet to have a GS Mini. Whoa.
Since we're kind of doing we're doing the sales takeover kind of, if anyone knocks the look of them or knocks the stigma, you need to play one, because it is astonishing the sound that comes out of such a small guitar. It's mind-blowing. It's an experience it's hard to describe, as you can tell. So pick one up and try it before you knock it. It's amazing.
It's a tonality that everybody needs in their quiver, man. It's an arrow that, again, everyone needs a GS Mini in their quiver.
It's not like there isn't tonal variety to choose from in the GS Mini line. I mean, we do make them out of several different tone woods.
You could have multiple GS Minis, and so you could have the
I have multiple GS Minis.
You have the Koa, you have the Spruce,
Hey, this is a good question. Do we have a number? How many GS Minis did we sell in 22? Do we know? A lot.
A lot.
Somewhere
between a lot and quite a few.
Definitely more than 10. Far less than 15 million.
Well,
but
we're up
definitely
to
more than 10.
What's the number? 450,000?
460,000
GS Minis.
Yeah, since we started building them, which wasn't that long ago.
11 years. We're going on 12 years.
2010.
Yeah. Remarkable. It's just remarkable. Yeah.
12 years.
Great tool.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I made a happy birthday GS Mini piece of content 3 years ago. What the heck, man? We lose track of time. Okay, Mike, we're cutting you off. Round 2. What is your next resolution?
It's all good. Funny enough, y'all are adding to your collection. I'm actually looking to downsize. We all sometimes get caught in this whole thing of like more. And next thing you know, you're making very expensive impulse buys. And why? Just because. And that I got caught up in that, and that wound up becoming a problem. So slowly but surely, I've been culling the herd and saying like, okay, trying to convince myself, well, you can only play them one at a time. Of course, I need a certain amount to make myself feel comfortable. So, 20 is a good number for me. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I have to get down to 20. However, I'm also looking to kind of consolidate. And Ryan, like you said, you got your Les Paul, you got your like you're trying to kind of get like one of every sound so that you have everything that you need. And somebody like me or somebody like Evan who records often, you kind of need that flexibility. Like, all right, this is going to be a Les Paul sound. All right, this is going to be a Telly sound or what have you. And what I want to do is maybe get, as opposed to having 4 different Les Pauls where like 3 of them don't sound all that dissimilar. Well, let's get like 1 or 2 that really matter, and those could be forever guitars. And because I'm also in a 1-bedroom condo and I don't have space. So there's that as well. So that's the end of, what's that?
Sounds like a problem. I think we just need to figure out more hooks to hang more guitars, man.
I only have 2 on the wall. I got all these platinum and gold records here taking up all the important space. But
Mike, you started talking, then all of a sudden you started speaking this language that I didn't understand. And you said it was just pops and clicks.
Downsizing?
I didn't
the whole downsizing thing and everything after that just lost.
Everything after that, I didn't understand.
Yeah, I'm confused with this downsizing thing.
All right. Well, listen, that's the end of round 2. Round 3.
Okay.
Evan.
That was quick. To follow on my last resolution, this also does well in the pedal world. And it's also a way to keep our director of sales, Dave, who I mentioned earlier, who again has been on the show, helped me get the job because I watched the episode. I'm going to try to hold his feet to the fire here. I'm going to build him an awesome pedal board. We're talking cable care, zip ties, you name it. It's going to be beautiful, and he's going to play it, and it's going to be great. It's a big resolution of mine. So, Dave, it's happening. We're doing it.
Hey, if you ever need help with that, so in my previous life, I guitar teched a lot for big bands and stuff, and that was by far the most fun part of the job, was making the rigs. Oh,
I did him.
So like, if you ever just want to be like, Jay, let's just go make pedal boards together, I'll be like, yeah, and I'll grab some water or a coffee, and we'll be like, just do this. It's so fun to be really OCD.
Yep,
it is,
and to be OCD while placing an OCD on the board.
Yeah,
pedal pun intended there. But it's funny. I was building the biggest board I've ever done, and I was just in the thralls of it. My wife comes over and looks at what I'm doing, and she looks at me and says, "You honestly think this is fun?" And I look up like this giddy schoolboy. I'm like, "Yeah, so much fun. You have no idea." But yeah, there's something about it. It's incredibly rewarding, and you also get to see the fruit of the labor when you plug it in and all the lights come on and everything works. So yeah, Dave Pelletier is getting a really nice board this year that I'm going to wire up for him. That's a resolution.
You can never get bored about playing around with signal chain.
Thank you.
Because every little thing, like we always talk about, everything you change on a guitar, whether small or big, it's going to alter the sound, right? Same thing in your signal chain, except far more violently. You flip the pedals around, you're going to get a very different response,
Yeah.
And are there any rules? There's rules, but you don't have to follow them. It's music. You don't have to put your modulation effects through your effects loop. Just put them in line. Who cares? Have fun.
They're more like guidelines anyway. Throw modulation before your drives and just let it rip.
Yeah, why not?
Hey nerds. Hey, can I ask a favor? Can we redo this show and bring my wife on so that we can have this discussion with her?
Just tell her
she needs to understand.
Just tell her to turn on the computer, man. We got you.
Just the other night, Valerie was looking for me, and that's like 9:30 at night, and she's like, "Where the hell are you?" And I'm like in the garage, like I trying to work out like this pedal configuration, and I was like, I got to do this right now. And she's like, "Okay, where the hell did you go?" And I'm like, I got to do this.
It's not where did I go, it's where am I going.
Where am I going? I love that. Yes.
We need to figure this out, and we need to figure it out right now. You don't understand. I'm not playing any shows anytime soon, but I gotta have this worked out before I go to sleep.
Pad of paper with lines all drawn and
Oh,
signals
man.
and- yeah.
Schematic
Oh,
J.
yeah.
I have so
Yeah.
many like schematics. We just hung, the things that excite us in my department area. I have a group of dudes in my spot, people, and we hung some new whiteboards and we drew a schematic today, and it was so fun. That's all I got. I do not feel for your wife. She's got to understand that this is, who's really fun to talk about pedal board configuration with? Lindsay. She is missing an opportunity to drop. Oh, she's really opinionated about it too, and it's awesome when she starts arguing about no, this pedal delay goes here and reverb. Oh, I love it. Anyway, sorry. Who's next, Mike? This is an exciting show.
I believe Ryan is up to bat.
With the pedal board thing, I just brought home. Shout out to Glenn Wolf at Taylor Guitars. Brought myself home a little prestigious mini pedal board today. So thank you, Glenn. I'm off and running with a new pedal board. At least
that is the name of the company. He's not describing that it's prestigious.
Prestigious pedal boards. Yes, check them out. They're awesome. You know what? The last thing for me, I last year bought myself for the first time. Evan, you'll appreciate this. I now own a bass. And I have always liked to fill in and hey, that's what I got. I brought that home today. Look at that. Exactly that. Empty, and we'll fill it. No, I am the journey begins. But I am going to, bass playing, there's lots of jokes about, well, you learn the first 3 notes and then you're off and running, you got a gig. I want some technique. And so I got myself a cool P bass this last year, and I haven't really sat down to work on it. And this year will be the year that I actually get myself some cool bass chops.
Love it.
I don't know if I'll get up to Jaco Pastorius. I think that's a long way to go, or Joe Dart, but we'll we gotta have goals. So yeah, learning to play the bass well is one of my goals this year.
On the bass note, I just got
the groove.
I just got a refret on my 60s made in Japan J bass.
I love that bass.
And
Wow,
man
I love
alive.
that bass.
Yep.
What pickups are on that thing?
Yeah, so this was like the 60s made in Japan Ibanez factory, kind of almost, you could argue, lawsuit era, where there's nothing on the headstock. And they did a limited run of like mini bass pickups, and they're awesome. The guy I took it into to do the refret said, you do realize you could just take the pickups out of this and sell them for like $500. So I got it refretted, and super excited about that. So good call,
Nice.
Ryan, on keep slapping the bass, man.
Slap of the bass.
By the way, Jay does not like slapped bass. We established this. We revisited it last week.
Nope.
He's very much not into slapping the bass.
I'm not.
He's
But
not.
But I'm also a texture guy, so I like many different textures. I was once in a weird band. We started. I was tour managing this tour, and we did this thing. Remember that band, that punk rock band of course, it's a punk rock band, out of northern kind of LA area, Riverside area, maybe, Face to Face. They did this tour, and they did this contest where a band had to open. It had to have a local opener open the show, right? And we had this situation where the venue, it was a venue in Houston, and they were just really rough folks that were running this show. And there was a moment where we actually loaded everything in. We didn't set up anything, and we were about to load out, and really, honestly, it just went into, were they going to pay us or not? And they had to pay the band, right? And they didn't. So we were about to load out. Anyway, we worked everything out, and then it was, by that time, we couldn't have a local opener play, so we put a band together. And I am a fan of bands that have 2 bass players. I love the idea of someone who plays chords and someone who fills single note rhythms in. I like filling space with bass. I don't like being overwhelming. That's my opinion. So my New Year's musical resolution is to start to get into flat bass.
Like flat wound?
No, slap of the bass. I can't.
Okay.
Oh,
I play with my fingers. I like this, but I just like groovies. The Groovy Ghoulies, also a good band. Sorry.
Thank you for coming to Jay's TED Talk.
Yeah, it's my TED Talk about bass.
Those are my
Actually,
dogs.
it's-
Sorry about that. They're mellow.
That was crazy because like Roger barked sympathetically and he can't even hear it. So it's like, wait, what the heck is going on? Is there an earthquake? You know,
I thought it was a delayed reaction to our round 3 bell that we were.
we're not quite there yet. Well, we did round 3 bell, but the ending bell is coming because Jay is up next. Actually, it's your turn.
Yeah, not bass. It's not going to be slap bass. That is not my thing. I'm not going to do it this year. But you know, musical is. I really like the idea of really diving into genres this year that I haven't been into, and I'm gonna kind of bite off of your, resolution, Mike, and it's kind of just keep expanding just my musical horizons and really diving into just going, searching for that vinyl and just finding records that might look really interesting and just, the $3 bin, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to collect vinyl and spend $60 a pop for 180 gram, double gatefold, blah, blah, blah. You can go and spend $3, less than $5 at a pop, and just $10 at a time, and find some really amazing gems. So I really want to dive into just different genres that I haven't really just dipped my toes in, so to speak. So that is my last resolution for this year. Broaden my horizons.
And that's my last one as well. I mean, it was, it really was something that I wanted to do anyway, but then I sort of really resolved to do that after Jeff Beck passed away, because I never really was a huge Jeff Beck fan. I never put down Jeff Beck. I always thought he was, like a massive talent. I mean, like he is, he's spoken in the same sentence as Hendrix, Clapton, Page, Van Halen, like, any of those top 10, whatever you want that top 10 to be, Jeff Beck is in there somewhere. And, after he passed away, it sort of resonated with me in a very odd fashion. Like, how many times have we come across like, so-and-so passed away, and then you listen to the band and you're like, wow, why didn't I listen to this when they were alive? And, Jeff Beck just played like live here like a month ago, and guess what? I'm never going to get the opportunity to see him again. So for me, it's like, all right, well, let's widen those horizons. Let's go to shows. Let's see things. Let's experience it. And let's take it in from a different perspective, not just listen to it because you should listen to it, get something out of it, and make it, fire up those creative juices, going back to the first resolution of recording more and writing more original material, because we are, we're made up of all of our influences. You always hear about, so-and-so say, I've had no info, I'm self-taught and this and that. No, you're not self-taught. You learn from everybody else that you ever listen to in one way or another. Whether it's consciously or subconsciously, it's there. So why not take more of that in? Like, jokingly, I showed you the Tom Jones thing, you know what? But guess what? There's something to this. There's a reason why it was popular. A good song is a good song. It doesn't matter how old it is, and that still resonates to this day. So, yeah, I'm going to listen to Tom Jones. Yeah, I'm going to listen to Jeff Beck more. Yeah, I'm going to listen to the Captain and Tennille. Who cares? Will I put on Slayer soon after to sort of cleanse my palate? Yes, I will do that.
Return to zero. Yeah, you just got to,
and then go on a Rush binge. I'll listen to and I'll be happy with that. But the thing is that absorb it all, and that's what I really want to do. Is just really, like Jay, like you too. We're all kind of saying different variations of the same thing. We're just expanding our horizons, whether it's listening, playing, our rigs, which is always fun to grow our rigs. We know that. Though I am shrinking down, but there is something to slap bass, Jay, and I really think that's the next step in your evolution is slap bass.
Yeah, I just am never going to play it. There you go.
With that is the end of this roundtable.
Getting better at that. That's good. That was good.
It's been changing pitch as I drink the iced tea. So
this is pretty impressive. That was a fun show. Sometimes we got to break away from the the monotony of just talking about guitars all the time, but because all we do is talk about guitars. And
Do you,
I
though?
know that sometimes we get a lot of questions in the feed, or we get a lot of comments about this guitar or that guitar or what guitar. I'm going to give you a really quick sneak peek. You're all Taylor fans. What's the date? It's January 17th.
Yep. Correct. Tuesday.
Right.
In just a few hours. Are you talking about something that happens in just a few hours?
Yeah. Hey guys, we got new guitars coming out tomorrow. Pay attention to it. I'm not telling you what they are, but pay attention to it because they rip, and I'm super excited about them. So there's that. We talk about guitars all the time. Evan, it's so rad having you on the show because you talk about guitars all the time. You guys, it's like all we do. So nerding out is this was a really fun show to nerd out about and really dive into that. Let's hold each other to this. You know what, Ryan? Maybe this is the year we complete the Iron Maiden musical.
Oh, now you're playing with me, man. I want that. I want that in the worst way. I think
Based
about
on
it
what
every now
album
and
though?
then.
What
No,
album?
it's
All.
I can't give it.
Oh,
I
it's
can't
the-
give you. I can't give you the thing. I can't give you the stuff.
But are we including the
Jay,
Blaze
you're
Bailey
on,
years?
man.
That's
You
the
are on.
important thing.
That's-
We
that
can't.
is it.
Can we avoid the Blaze Bailey years? Is that okay?
Look, no, I'll explain offline. I can't really
Okay.
throw too much of this out there, but I guarantee you, Iron Maiden fans will be stoked about
It's
it.
a moneymaker, man. It's gonna.
Dude, it is so
Tony,
good.
Tony is waiting for us.
Is Jay having a stroke?
Is that the guy that's shaking down the person in the parking lot for the money that you're not going to make?
Yeah, Tony's
Tony? That Tony?
That Tony is definitely waiting for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's that. I don't know if there's a lot of questions in the feed. I asked what's new. Oh, what's new coming from Taylor? We can't tell you.
We will say it's a Taylor product.
It's a guitar.
There are guitars.
Yes.
Good
They
ones.
they all have strings.
They
Wood
do
and steel.
wood and steel
Indeed.
and strings and
Well, that's a steel.
tuning machines. Well, they got tuning machines.
Yeah.
They've
they do.
got songs in them, big time.
Okay, they got
all
songs.
the notes.
We were just talking about that. Actually, Evan and I were just saying that.
All the notes are included with your purchase.
Okay. I think we've teased them enough. What size? They are this big?
There's something for everyone.
There is something for everyone. There we go.
I think that's the best way to put it.
That's a good answer.
There's
That's a very good
something
answer.
for everyone. Ooh, we got a question from Phil. Oh, Phil's back. Phil, you've been here the whole time, but by what I mean is Phil's back is Phil drops dimes questions. And the question is, Evan, do you consider Martin guitars to be competition or a friend that makes Taylor better? That is a fantastic question. See what I'm saying? Dimes. Ask your questions, everybody. We'll
That
do
is a-
some Q&A for a minute, and then we'll go into.
That's
I'm
a
gonna
great way
do.
to phrase it.
I'm going to do Lindsay's question tonight, so it's going to be Jay's question. But go ahead.
That's a fantastic question. My initial answer is just yes, and I'll explain. My wife for Christmas a while back surprised me with a 1990s made in Westerly, Rhode Island Guild that I absolutely love, and I've even had it here in the office before. And there are a handful of offices you walk by here at Taylor Guitars where you'll see what some people perceive to be our competition. But one thing within the word competition, I love how you phrased it, is that competition makes everyone better. It really depends on how you respond to it. And it can be something that drives you crazy or something that makes you better. And here at Taylor, we feel like, other brands like Martin or Guild, like I mentioned, sure, they may be viewed as competition, but they better us. And in that, I think they are a friend, if you want to put it that way. So my answer is yes. I think it's both. But we are all guitar players here. And as I mentioned personally, and there are plenty of other players, we are guitar players first and foremost. We love the instrument. And I mean, to be honest, I think we all can agree, acoustic guitar would not be what it is without Martin, plain and simple. It's hopefully that's my answer at least, and I think that gentlemen on the call would agree.
Evan for mayor. That's a great answer.
I'm on mute. I totally would agree with that. I think that's a fantastic way to answer that. I think that all competition makes you better, man.
Yep.
Just makes you
Just-
better.
Just not for the Chargers, though.
All right,
Well-
really? Are we doing
Hold
that
on.
now?
No, we're not doing that now. We're not doing that yet. Okay, so there's another question. Here's one. Eric has a question. Any new Builder's Edition guitars coming out? Sometime there will be, yes. Because Andy's the builder and he likes to make additions. I know that's very vague, but on the roadmap, maybe, probably. We don't know what it is yet, but definitely he's spoken about it recently to me that there's some new Builder's Editions coming at some point.
Yeah,
By
the next edition will definitely be built.
And he is a builder. So
All right, so we got what are those baseball cards behind Evan, and who are they?
They are. I mean, this cold one we're about to have is starting to become more and more realistic with these questions. I've got 4 of them. 1984 is my favorite year for all Topps cards. Over there, I've got 12 of my favorite football players, and I've got 4 baseball players here: Tony Gwynn, Cal Ripken, Pete Rose, and Nolan Ryan. Which, by the way, have you seen the Nolan Ryan documentary?
Oh, it's so good.
It's
it's a
amazing.
strong selection.
Unbelievable.
Love it.
Unbelievable.
So good.
So those are
Okay.
the 4 that I have on display, but I love sports and I love any baseball, basketball, football, 1984 PSA graded Topps. It's my jam.
Nice. Why 84?
It's a design aesthetic for me. Well, sorry, not only were the players across the board, I mean, through all 3 major sports. Sorry, I left hockey out. Sorry. Not only were the players amazing, but the actual look of the card is just timeless. You either have the picture of the player or the logo of the team, and it feels right. And there's just something nostalgic about it for me. I'm growing up collecting. So
Very cool.
I have the complete set 1984 Topps too, Evan. We've talked about that. So I feel you.
oh yeah, check in tomorrow. It comes for videos. Yep, good call. Tex, and I think John
we might
Moore,
even
too.
have some, but we love when these dealers definitely will do something. But to keep your eyes peeled, because I mean, I'm really excited about these guitars.
I think it happens soon.
Yeah, it happens. It definitely happens soon.
Yeah.
We're talking like
Midnight.
just a few hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Midnight.
I wonder if all those videos are
Taylor
scheduled
Central
to
time.
go live.
Some are. I know that.
Some are. I know one particular is for sure. Yeah. Anyway.
Could it be from us?
No. No. You know why? I want to give somebody a little bit of a secret here. Nope. I like to let their content go first. Our dealer content needs to be in the YouTube's world before ours does,
Oh, I
or
agree.
else their content would choke a little, because we're the brand, right? So getting some trust in Google and on the YouTube algorithm, it's best. This is why I always kind of launch it later in the morning, often on release day. FYI, just so you wanted to know that. I knew you wanted to know that.
Well, that just follows the kind of partnerships we strive for with our dealers. I mean, that's just, the Taylor way, if you will.
Look what Bill wrote. 1984
It's
Detroit
true.
Tigers World
It's
Series
true.
champions.
I
You
love
know,
it. Didn't somebody
I've-
come out recently and say from that team and said we didn't even perform like we should have, and they were like 35-5 in their first 40 games? Like they felt like they could have done better.
Kirk Gibson did it in Detroit first. I just want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite Padre teams. That's cool. Whatever. It's fine.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good.
That being said, all right, guys, thank you for this. We are going to move into what we usually call Lindsay's question, but Lindsay couldn't be on the show tonight, so I'm going to ask the question, and that I'm going to go back to one of her oldies but goodies, Evan, and that is, if you had a billboard, what would it say?
What's the advert for? Is it for me or to make fun of me? Is this self-deprecating or anything?
No, just what would it say? What did Andy had a great answer once. I think Andy's was like, don't. or something like that. So what would your billboard say? You could have anything on your billboard. What would it say? Would it be inspiring? Would it be like,
Oh man,
what are you going to do?
that's such a big one. Something to the extent of it'd have to be something about dad jokes. You know, we mentioned it earlier. Maybe something about like laugh anyways, hashtag dad jokes. Or something about like it's only a courtesy laugh if you don't fully send it or don't mean it.
Hey, dad jokes are the best jokes.
I mean, it's even when they fall flat.
Would it be just a dad joke in general? Would it be like
it would be some kind of homage to the dads around the world who just make absolutely ridiculous jokes, and the fact that, you know what, courtesy laughs are still laughs.
Courtesy laughs are still laughs. Dad
That's
jokes.
a good billboard right there.
There it is. Took me a minute. I got there.
Okay, can't tell that one.
No.
No, can't tell that. Whoa, can't tell that one.
What kind of
here's
dad
one that
jokes are you looking at? Who's dad?
It's
look like my grandpa
you know,
jokes.
Rich Casciato and I will go back and forth all the time. Sometimes it's really
Well, there's
great.
a difference between dad jokes and grandpa jokes, and the line there is the censorship right there.
Oh yeah.
Why did the chicken go to the gym?
Why?
To work on his pecs.
There's your courtesy laugh right there.
No, my mom, my daughter, my 10-year-old laughs at every dad joke I tell. Like she's just, I'm like, I love you, Simone, man. You're just right there with me. I get you. All right. Go ahead. You had a dad joke comment.
No, I was just saying, laughter is healthy for us, whether it's genuine or not. It's just healthy for us to laugh.
I agree. So you know what we're going to laugh about in a second after this useless clip?
Oh no.
You
Here
take
it
a
comes.
guess. Yeah.
Oh, let's laugh.
2 minutes of sports. You can take the Chargers out of San Diego, but they're still the Chargers.
Oh, man.
Ryan, you're a Chargers fan, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
aren't
I was raised a Charger fan, and I am no longer a Charger fan.
He's
you?
reformed.
Are you anti-Chargers because they left the city? What's the deal?
If they went to Vegas, I'd probably still be a Charger fan. But you don't leave San Diego and go to LA, just like the Clippers. As I was a boy and still haven't forgiven them. So, I have found it in my heart, as we were discussing, to root for the players on the field. I think Herbert is a great quarterback. He was my fantasy quarterback this year. Really good. And I was not rooting against them. Scouts honor, was not rooting against them in that game. But when they lost, I laughed a little.
I mean,
I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it. I'm not going to lie. I enjoyed it. I savored it. I cut it like a wonderful piece of meat, and I ate it and just loved it.
I saw a meme that said, what's the quarterback's name?
Herbert.
Herbert is just Phillip Rivers with longer hair.
Oh no!
Oh man!
And I was like, oh
no,
that's bad.
Man.
Hey,
that's harsh.
I'm a Lions fan. We didn't even make it, but go Lions, man. We beat the Pack. That made me excited.
One could argue that the refs in that Seahawks-Ram games kind of got the Lions out of the playoffs with some of those calls.
That's true.
True.
Yeah. Full transparency when it comes to the game. I am a self-admitted armchair coach and quarterback, but in this situation, have we not learned our lesson in any pro sports that no lead is safe? And you see these play calls coming in that are so conservative, trying to just, instead of, putting the pedal to the metal, you're trying to play it safe. And it just, especially in the playoffs, you cannot let your foot off the gas.
Nope. No, that was remarkable. And, I'm sorry for the players, like I said, but as a reformed former Charger fan, that was sweet candy.
Yeah. And the Trevor Lawrence, Sarah Jessica Parker memes are amazing and just out of control. I love it.
Bill knows what's up. The Lions are coming back.
It's
They're
true.
on next year. So Jim Curlin actually asked me at the beginning of the season. He was like, "So every year, everyone's like, how the Lions going to do?" And really, this is an honest statement. I am like, dude, if we win 7 games, it's like winning the World Series. What? It's like winning the Super Bowl for us, right? It's the Lions. We're just used to it. So
Mm-hmm.
like this year, it was like a what? A winning what? A winning season? This is fantastic. So who knows? We might even be better next year. It would be awesome.
Well, you know me, I got a lot of Michigan love in my heart, and married into a Michigan family, so it's go Lions.
I know that this was stated about the Broncos before they brought Danger Russ into Denver, but I do think the Lions are truly a quarterback away.
Yeah, it's no longer Danger Russ. It's Russ is in danger, like every week.
I love Russell Wilson too.
The
So
Subway commercial.
I was bummed on that. All right, that was 14 minutes of sports, so we can wrap this up with some Evan's question. Evan, if you're listening, I see you there. You don't get to change the name of this. It is Evan's question because this is a tribute to you, my friend. You write the question or we write the question. I'm answering your email right here on the screen. We love you, dude, and we really, really love that you're here every single week with us. So, Evan, till the end of time, this is called Evan's question. So, ladies and gentlemen, you guys know how this works. First person to answer this in the feed, shoot me an email, and we will get you squared away with a prize. Tonight's prize, shucks, he says, shucks. You're the best, Evan. We love you.
Great
look,
name.
look who's in here.
You better be playing a Taylor in that profile picture.
No, he doesn't. He can play what he wants. He's Evan. He knows all the answers to all these questions. He's going to know this one too. But guess what the rules are? Paul Tobias, Gabe O'Brien, who is celebrating his wedding anniversary and couldn't make the show tonight. We love you, Gabe. I hope you're having a good time. Happy anniversary. To Paul Tobias, Evan, Gabe, they can't answer any of these questions. They're too good. But we got a question that's a fun one. It was hard. This is why we were late hopping on the show, because the English, not so great at English nerds on the 4 of us here, we're having a really hard time writing it, but you'll get it. Okay, let me get to this. So you guys know the deal. The first person to answer the question in the feed, you get a prize, and that prize is a pick tin, a Taylor coffee mug, a Taylor trucker hat, which I'm not wearing, and a new Taylor t-shirt. So we will we'll reach out and get your size. And the question is, who's ready for this? Oh, Gabe likes to do this when he's on helping. Trivia. Who's ready? Here we go. And the trivia question is, which one of these recording artists / bands did not have a current employee owner of Taylor Guitars in it as a touring member? That was a mouthful. The first one.
It reads well.
Jason Mraz, Air Supply, New Kids on the Block, or America?
That's a great question.
It is a great question.
It took all of us to come up with it too, so it was good teamwork.
It took all of us to write it.
And we nearly messed one of the groups up, if I'm not mistaken.
Wait a second. Look how fast this. Wait, Steve, where'd it go? I want to say.
All right. First of all, Steve can't answer. But there is a winner, but it was not the first answer.
Wait, where?
Well,
Steve, I see this one, but it was misspelled. But I might give it to him. You know what?
Wait. Do we have to go to judges?
No,
is Amerix?
No, I think he was trying to write it, and I think
I was told there'd be no math in this.
Richard was trying to write it.
The S is right by the A. I mean, it's right there.
Yeah, I'm going to give them both. We're going to give them both. You guys hit us at primetime@taylorguitars.com. If the email, for some reason, somebody told me that email did not work, you can hit our customer service email and tell them you won the Primetime gift. So it's, what is it, sir, support@taylorguitars.com. We should also know that. Here, hold on. What is the email? So congratulations, Zach. Congratulations, Richard. Stick around. I'll put my email in the comments, or an email in the comments after the show is no longer live, and you can shoot us an email. How's that? That's a good way to do it. Wow. Yes.
That's
So
quick.
the answer is Andy Powers played with Jason Mraz. Tim Godwin, our director of artist relations and entertainment, played with Air Supply. Craig Yemek, our guitar. What is he? What's his title?
National accounts. Sales
National
manager.
account sales manager. He really works closely with Guitar Center, played drums in New Kids on the Block and with Tiffany. And America is the answer. Nobody at Taylor played with America. Whew. That was exciting. All right. In the comments after the show, I'll leave an email that if the Primetime email doesn't work, so it's Primetime question. Do Taylor employees stay up late and party on release day eve? James,
It's a good one.
that is a fantastic question. How do we
I'm
answer it?
rocking out with the iced tea.
We're gonna party it up.
I got to drink water tonight.
We're gonna play some guitar.
Hi, Jason.
I love that question.
Let me tell you
'cause,
something.
if we didn't do that before, we now will. So if it wasn't something we did, it's now something that'll happen.
Yeah.
Well, we have to monitor how many releases we have in a particular year because we may all need livers. You know?
At the end of, yeah, man, we got a lot of stuff working.
You know what?
working on this
You know
year.
what? I nominate Paul Tobias to celebrate for all of us for every
Yes.
release the night
There you
before.
go.
I think that's fair because he can handle it.
James, the answer is no, but Paul Tobias does.
Yes.
Hey, Steve gave us Craig Yemek's title. Craig Yemek's title is National Accounts Manager West.
West. I was close. I had all of that except for West.
Anyway, guys, pay attention for tonight. We got some guitars coming out first thing in the morning. You can go to bed. It's late where some of you are, or just stay awake and hang out with us. It's fine. Thank you so much, Evan, for joining the show. This was fantastic. Next week, we have Stevie Salas on, which is Stevie is, it's going to be a good treat. So Stevie Salas wrote the music for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. He plays with Rod Stewart. We're going to talk about the documentary he produced called Rumble. He is the king of storytelling. I'm so thrilled to have him on. The week after that, on the 31st, is not going to be a live show. It's going to be a pre-recorded show with Jason Schooner from Telefunken. We're going to start talking about some of the stuff that the 25-year. It was an acoustic record that was recorded 25 years ago by the band Blues Traveler, and it was all done on Taylor guitars with not really a Taylor relationship. They just bought Taylors. There's a story to that. We're going to talk about microphones. He's going to talk about he's going to bring the original Mission Control bass, the Grateful Dead Mission Control bass. We're going to talk about that. It's going to be a really, really fun show. And then we got some great shows coming up the rest of the year. Thank you guys all so much. Again, an hour and a half of your time on Tuesday nights. We greatly appreciate it. Ryan, I appreciate you jumping on. It's always great to hang out with you after hours.
My pleasure.
Celebrating release day.
Woo.
Mike, man, oh man, Mike, it's good to see you. We see each other a lot. We talk to each other a
And
lot.
there's
But
Mike.
it's just a fun time with you,
Of
man.
all the
You're so
shows
great.
I've seen you on, Mike, this is the most recent.
This is the most recent. Evan, again, man,
And there you are.
a nod to you, Evan. You're great. You
Yes,
are
thank
so
you,
great.
Evan.
Yes,
You
we
were-
love Evan. Huge.
We
fan.
love
Everything you
Evan.
do for us and for this show. So thank you.
and
Thank you, Evan.
all of that.
My pleasure.
Andy Lund, we miss you. We hope to see you live soon. Lindsay, man, you're the best, and you're doing such great work with the community and artists. We love it. Yes, virtual high five, everybody. I do have an outro by Andy Lund, so let's see what this guy has to say. And after that, we'll be hanging up. Good evening, folks. Enjoy yourselves. Watch some sports and pay attention to some guitar releases. Here we go, Andy. Take it away.
What was it? What was it? It was prime time. It was prime time. What the heck was it? Another prime time. Hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Talking about musical resolutions for the new year. Thanks to Evan for sharing his. enjoy your guitars, your time, and play some music. We'll see you next time on Prime Time.
All right, everybody. Have a good evening. Take
Well done.
care. See you
Happy
next
birthday,
week.
Roger.
Happy birthday, Roger.